Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes. And today, I'm going to introduce to you guys the very first female character in this batch of Lesser Known since the return of the segment. And I thought, if there's any way that I'm going to do it big, I'm going to do it certainly with one of DC's powerhouse female characters. And I can think of no other powerhouse character that would feel appropriate than the wife of scot-free Mr. Miracle. That's right, guys. PM Night 12's favorite female character, and overall just a general badass. That's right. Today I'm going to be talking about Barda Free, or as we better know her as, the new god Big Barda. And Barda first appeared in Mr. Miracle #4 in October of 1971. And she was created and drawn by the King of Comics himself, Jack Kirby. And she has been And Big Barda has been part of the New Gods, the Justice League, the Female Furies, and the Birds of Prey. She has immortality, super strength, endurance, reflexes, and speed. She is a great warrior. She is also a weapons master, and she carries the Mega Rod and Astro Discs. So let me get into her powers. Barda has super strength and endurance, and of course, being an Apocalyptian, or raised on Apocalypse, she is also immortal. She is a master combatant, having trained in all forms of warfare on Apocalypse. She is also one of the deadliest hand-to-hand combatants alive. Her level of power puts her on the same level as characters like Wonder Woman, Donna Troy, Supergirl, Power Girl, and even Mary Marvel. And her skill and strength are so great that she actually once in a pure contest of skill, her and Wonder Woman actually fought to a draw. Yeah, that should tell you something about her. She wields a high-tech weapon called a Mega Rod, which produces extremely powerful concussive energy bolts capable of even falling Superman. She can also teleport herself and others to extremely long distances. She can increase gravitational forces, and on top of that, it works as an extremely sturdy and powerful melee weapon. She can also summon and use Astro Discs, which allow her to fly. And Barda, of course, which you can tell by this picture, her signature Apocalyptian armor actually augments her already impressive super strength. On top of that, she also possesses, like Mr. Miracle, she possesses a mother box, which is a sentient handheld supercomputer that has a vast amount of functions, including opening boom tubes, energy manipulation, healing its owner, and taking over non-sentient machines and evolving them. Plus, it also actually sustains its user in hostile environments, i.e. really contaminated, areas or planets, and many, many other uses. Now, let's get into Barda's origins, shall we? Okay, Barda was born to the race of New Gods about 250 years ago on Apocalypse. Her mother was named Big Barda, but Barda was taken away from her at an early age to be trained as a warrior. She was a product of Granny Goodness's Home for Orphaned Youth. Granny's motto was "Die for Darkseid." Granny groomed Barda since day one to eventually lead the Female Fury Battalion, a furious and vicious pack of female warriors. However, during a raid, Barda would actually meet and actually eventually free, scot-free, who was actually Darkseid's adopted son due to a trade with Highfather, for a moment of peace. And sensing a great amount of peace in him, she actually fell in love with him. Barda risked her own safety to work with the rebel cell led by the new god Himon, Himon, Barda, Himon, and Metron assisted Scott in escaping Apocalypse. She doesn't leave at that point, for gravity manipulation had disabled her, and she didn't wish to slow Scott down in his flight. Eventually, Barda completely turns her back on Granny and came to Earth herself. Scott had become an escape artist known as Mr. Miracle and is teaming with Oberon, his manager. For a while, Barda's Furies assist Scott in his showmanship efforts, but they return to Apocalypse by themselves. Scott and Barda are married by Scott's father, the High Father of New Genesis. For a number of years, Barda would actually follow Scott and Oberon on tour. Eventually, they retired as superheroes and moved to Bailey, New Hampshire. However, despite their best efforts, a normal life eluded them. Disasters plagued them. Barda, Scott, and Oberon left Bailey and moved to a loft in Greenwich Village in New York City. Barda then formed a defense training program for women called the New Female Furies. Though naive regarding Earth customs, Barda relished her roles of wife and housekeeper. However, when duty calls, she never hesitated to assume the posture of a warrior, and when Scott joined the Justice League, she participated in several missions. In one instance, while training fire, her weapon, the Mega Rod, is stolen from her car. With the assistance of her husband and the Huntress, she gets it back, but not before many innocent people were killed by its wielder, who was unable to resist the corrupting influence of the apocalyptic technology. Barda would also lead a JLA mission to rescue her husband after he was lost in space. The mission was a result of Manga Khan selling Scott to Granny Goodness. Her teammates included Martian Manhunter, Rocket Red, and Gwart, there we go, G-N-O-R-T of the Green Lantern Corps. In an effort to dissuade their successful pursuit, Manga Khan hired Lobo, paying him in dolphin feed to kill them. He almost dies, but Barda teleported him to a random location before that being 10 feet behind Guy Gardner's skull. The repercussions of that literal meeting of the minds would last for years. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's actually funny. Because I don't like Guy Gardner. But for a time, Barda mourned Scott, believing him slain in a battle with Despero. It had been a robot double destroyed. This was part of a plan by Manga Khan. After their time with the JLI, the two left Earth for New Genesis. However, they soon returned to Earth and took up temporary residence among the Justice League Refuge. During this period, the couple separated briefly due to Scott's lack of consideration for her feelings. Barda had also served as a member of the JLA in her own right as well. I'm trying to think. Takion, Takion's orders. She and fellow New God, Orion, actually were sent as agents of New Genesis to serve on the team. He predicted that Earth would face a grave threat. Their mission was to help mobilize Earth's heroes against the omnipotent Magnadon. Over time, they became involved with several JLA missions. Adam Strange, needing help with an alien invasion, enslaved the JLA as part of a bluff. The League worked for days, turning the planet into a giant teleportation beam. The aliens were sent off to the prison planet of Takron Galtus, which Barda had mentioned several times during the ordeal. In another instance, Barda was badly injured fighting the Queen Bee, a member of the newly reformed Justice League. Once Magadon was defeated, Barda and Orion resigned from the JLA. After the League. Barda and Scott then resided in the suburbs of Connecticut and were active adventurers. Barda never hesitated to lend a hand to her friends when her power and expertise were needed. Barda accompanied Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman to Apokolips to rescue Supergirl from Darkseid's clutches, and accepted an invitation from Oracle to become the heavy hitter on the all-female superhero group, the Birds of Prey. A similar-looking character named Little Barda appeared as a member of the Teen Titans in 52 issue 21. The character leaves the group in the same issue. Her relationship to Big Barda is unknown, though she escaped from Apokolips with Power Boy. In a confrontation with the Secret Six, she engaged Knockout, another X-Fury, in hand-to-hand combat. Though the fight was long and continued in the midst of other larger concerns for her team, it ended in a draw. Barda was actually killed in the first issue of Death of the New Gods. Her funeral occurred in the second issue of the series. Infinity Man was later revealed as the killer. He had been slaughtering all the New Gods in the name of restarting a new age of deities. In Final Crisis number 7, it depicts Barda standing alongside Light Ray and Highfather in front of a reincarnated New Genesis. And that, guys, is actually it for Big Barda's origins. It's actually not very long and actually surprisingly short. But nevertheless, Big Barda is certainly one of the DC Universe's big heavy hitter female characters. And although she's a bit of a warrior first and a housewife and what have you second, I actually kind of like her. I actually like her and Scott's relationship, even though she wears the pants of the relationship. And even though she is Amazonian sized, I mean, she's what, like 7 foot tall in the comics or something, like 6'9", 7 foot. She's a pretty tall woman. And she's always been built as having, like, I guess you could say a female bodybuilder type, physique. Like, just big and bulky and massive. I mean, this woman lifted up an entire piano set with one hand. And that's without her suit. Yeah, Barda is certainly a woman you don't want to cross. And lucky for the heroes of the Justice League and what have you, she's on their side. But she is, despite her mannerisms and her warrioristic nature and her short temper, Barda certainly does have a great loyalty and compassion to those that she holds dear, whether it be her husband Scott or her friends. So definitely her being the leader of the female Furies was quite appropriate, because they say hell haveth no fury like a woman scorned. Let's just say that Scott Free usually tries his best not to get on his wife's bad side. And of course, and honestly, guys, I think we should all feel a little bit bad for the villain who crosses Barda. And yeah, I'm not going to continue off of that. I think you guys can use your imaginations. But anyway, guys, that is it. That is Big Barda. So with that, guys, definitely a character I wanted to cover as the first female character since the return of this segment, and also get a little, try to get a couple of Jack Kirby characters in between here and there, in the revival of this segment. So there's one that can at least make a few, New God fans and Jack Kirby fans happy. But anyway, guys, I'm rambling on. So with that, I'm going to leave this video off. Big Barda, not the most well-known female character among the general audience, but no less very awesome. And as always, guys, stay tuned, and I assure you there will be many, many other female characters. So, as always, stay tuned.